Hello. You know that holistic therapies fail us many a times, and that means that they are not holistic enough on their own to amply provision auto healing. It is an enduring myth that they dilute the multifactorial agencies underwriting your illness or emotional blocks, when the fact is that they are generally used unilaterally, which is like putting the cart before the bull. So by the end of this blunt scrutiny, you'll be left with the key element of a clear-cut triple strike strategy to pick apart the three tricky playgrounds of disease and limitation. Do you remember a past illness in which you applied some form of natural remedy? No matter which way it went, you eventually recovered when your positive microvita outnumbered the negative ones in that segment of your body-mind. This need not be to the credit of the natural remedy that was relied upon. As a matter of fact, there's something dangerously wrong with such an arbitrary approach, and not just because you can't put your finger on how exactly you got well. Let's start by reviewing some of the known harmful effects of the most popular form of alternative care, traditional herbs. Some of these home remedies, while effective in certain ways, also let loose unwanted microvita upon us. Hence, the benefit, if any, comes at an unacceptable cost. There are at least 5 other troubles in the way herbalism is practiced these days. They are listed in the blog article accompanying this diatribe. Similarly, if you look at other alternative therapies, you will find that while many of them may render noticeable benefits, but they all fall short of fulfilling what your affected organs are urgently begging for. For example, how much can all these oversold herbal medicines help your blood, bone marrow, brain, DNA, skin, kidneys, spleen, liver, joints, hair, lungs, muscles, glands, etc., when you are not even feeding on the full complement of nutrients required to build and run them? And so how effective can solo traditional therapies be in the face of peculiar modern complexities tangling most illnesses? Therefore, haphazardly plastering some or the other form of standalone naturopathy without directly quashing the bad microvita populace churning up your disease or limitation is like firing empty bullet shells at charging elephants. As against mighty regiments of treacherous microvita orchestrating your disease or limitation, folk medicine, modern botanicals, and other contemporary forms of natural care can only issue comparatively smaller squads of salubrious microvita at best, and so most of the time there is no point in pitting them against each other if your diet and lifestyle are the real sneaky culprits fomenting invasions from outside. The resulting small gains, if any, are hardly sustainable. No matter how hard you try, you know where it's going to end up, right? In order to effect a lasting reversal of the basic causes of a psychophysical disorder, don't you need a slightly more elaborate plan of action derived from the present biopsychological ground realities of your body and mind? For example, a cursory literature review reveals that basic malnutrition still remains an unacknowledged epidemic of vast proportion even in the relatively developed nations of the world. Further investigation clarifies that a new scientific cross-examination of your diet and lifestyle has to be your first step towards unwinding an unwellness or a solvable limitation, because a lot of popular health foods actually leave behind a rather disadvantageous biopsychological footprint. For instance, the active rumor mongering that fish is good for the heart and brain, except that it is diffused with undesirable microbiota constructs besides many known pollutants like heavy metals. Your heart muscles and grey matter will gyrate more heartily with a less grayer source of all the matter they eagerly need. Healthy food isn't so if it is microbiologically dirty. Upon preliminary research, I counted at least 34 nutritives you must procure for a sound heart, over and above what a fish provides. For the brain, the number is at least 28. Similarly, the known number of nutritives for some other organs and processes displayed here will give you an idea of what's so conspicuously missing. Whatever nutrients that you do munch down into your tummy every day do not necessarily get assimilated in respectable amounts, because each one of them requires an array of synergistic nutritives to get processed biochemically inside your cells. In the same way, each nutrient has its own set of antagonistic factors that come in the way of its absorption. So, in spite of the synergistic elements that you may have in your food supply, you still remain malnourished because of the criminally disregarded antagonistic factors. While average health conscious folks are so monotonously fixated upon deficiencies, I found that because of the unnaturally concentrated nutritional products they consume regularly, they may actually be beset with excess of some of those celebrity nutrients which are so irrationally favored at the cost of others. Interestingly, you may be suffering from both excess and deficiency of a mineral at the same time, because the nutrient levels in intracellular fluids and those in the serum are independent of each other. That is, inadequacy of a mineral ion in serum may exist side by side its unhealthy excess in your intracellular fluids. At the start of this fact-finding mission, I requested you to recall an incident of natural remedy usage from your past. For that particular sickness, would it be nice for your affected organ systems to receive the full spectrum of nutritives they need to operate themselves? The different nutrients that your tongue does manage to taste, would it be nicer if you were gulping them down in adequate quantities? And suppose that for those nutritives which you were already touching in sufficient amounts, would it be still nicer if they were served in the desired proportion to each other? And while you picture yourself chomping on them in their right mutual ratios, how would you feel like sourcing the mandatory synergistic elements while parallelly shooing away the antagonistic factors which disrupt their absorption? You might have heard Nobel Prize winner Linus Pauling's assertion that all diseases are due to malnutrition. But we now know better. Nutritional factors may not be the first cause in every case, but in many diseases and limitations, they are, and they do play a much bigger role in most wellness problems, both by worsening the impact of the original cause and also by obstructing your recovery, since they are inadequately and wrongly understood. Once you weigh in all these factors together, what stands out starkly is that a dietetic and lifestyle overhaul is unavoidably overdue. Flying in the face of allopathic dogma, This book takes a fresh, compelling look at what basically makes your flesh and keeps it alive. Your routine, food, even the non-physical material making your mentality is derived from your meals to a considerable extent. This compendium traverses over 400 conditions compromising your well-being, not all of which give an obvious clue that the commonplace healthy lifestyle is their chief perpetrator. For example, some nutritives play mischief in only one side of your body. Catch a glimpse into the book on these slides. There are many signs of what's commonly perceived as healthy eating. As per Shri P.R. Sarkar, modern medical science has reached its threshold. People know what specific medicines exist for certain diseases, so if they get sick, they can take these patented medicines. Hence, the role of doctors has diminished. Now, allopathic science is at the top of a declining slope, and except for surgery, it has lost its importance for us. Only microvita theory can take us forward. According to him, doctors are mostly concerned with negative microvita, while each and every day more and more of negative microvita bring an increasing number of ailments upon us. If we choose to go by the factuality of negative microvita, then we can prevent attacks of negative microvita even before they occur. This compendium is the main entrance my clients take to climb up the microvita super diet ladder, because it is a straightforward guide to zero in on some of the obstinately untargeted dietetic persecutors that cause pain and other biopsychological limitations. As you readily plug these nutritional holes in your food plate, you will start stacking up the deck overwhelmingly in your favor against what fundamentally underscores the symptoms of a disease or other curable limitation. They can be exterminated gradually. Being part of a meta approach, it will be just as operable against novel diseases materializing in your future. Ignoring these basic tenets of foodology is the surest way to a health and wellness debacle, I'm afraid. If you are confronting an obstruction in your well-being about which you are not very sure if your diet and lifestyle are involved in general, and whether the succinct findings of this book in particular can make a positive difference, you are welcome to check back with me. Even before launching this mega compendium formally, its eventual fate was presaged to me by my mentors. Grab it while it's still available.